Alright, hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. So, as the title says, we're going to be talking about some Starfieldy stuff. Got a few different topics to talk about. I think the first and foremost is what's going on with Starfield. So, a lot of people have been saying that, coming into the stream, being like, yo, Crimson, what, any updates? Any news? Mainly my girlfriend asking me so I can stop annoying her. And to be honest, we have nothing. We got the update from Bethesda, or like the update. We got like it on Twitter when I did that video, which was, I think, 2-3 weeks ago. Which since then, yeah, we've got really much nothing. Now, Bethesda haven't been silent. They recently shadow dropped Oblivion, which I would highly recommend everyone give a go if you haven't. It's free on Game Pass, or you can purchase it, I suppose, on Steam or whatever. But I suppose a lot of people with the Oblivion kind of launching kind of out of nowhere, a lot of people are, probably worried and wondering, like, what does this mean for Starfield? And, well, it could mean a couple of things, and I'm going to kind of break down some of what it could mean. This, obviously, a lot of this is just kind of a mix of personal opinion and some educated guesses, I suppose you could say. So, Oblivion came out of the blue. I mean, it wasn't fully out of the blue because there was leaks of an Oblivion remaster in the court documents. There was also leaks of a Fallout 3 remaster that's also coming at some point. It was made primarily by, I think it was Virtuous Studios, a French studio who have been working alongside Bethesda, but they've been doing kind of the main heavy lifting. Now, we don't know how involved Bethesda was in it. Like, we don't know if, let's say, for instance, if, like, a handful of Bethesda employees were off working on it, or if it was, like, half of the Bethesda staff. I highly doubt it. I think, realistically, there's probably, like, maybe, 4 or 5 people that are just kind of there to oversight and make sure everything's good, and if they need any help with any sort of resources. Because we know that they also said that they are hard at work making the next Elder Scrolls, which, again, if I wasn't such a huge fan of Oblivion and kind of in awe of them dropping Oblivion, which even now I'm thinking this, but at the time I didn't really think about it too much, but the fact that they said that don't worry, they're working on, Elder Scrolls 6, which is cool, it comes across a little bit tone deaf. Starfield has been without an update for going on, well, December was when it got a patch, but that was a patch. Like, new content hasn't come out since Shattered Space, which was the end of September, October. It's now coming into May. It's the I'm recording this 24th of April. So that's what, over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. My math's correct. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 7 months. We're coming up on 7 months. Almost half a year with no content and nothing from Bethesda. And look, I'm the biggest fanboy when it comes to Bethesda. Like, I've been streaming the Oblivion game. I've been doing Oblivion videos. Like, it's awesome. I really enjoy what Bethesda make. But as a Starfield fan, it feels like a slap in the face. Like, we have been desperately in need of information regarding Starfield for months. And Bethesda break their silence by being like, don't worry, stuff is coming. Now, what does that mean, Bethesda? Like, realistically, there's going to be like the Xbox showcase in June, which I'm assuming they're going to showcase stuff in June. There's rumors about the PlayStation remaster, or PlayStation port, not remaster, which some people have been speculating, oh, maybe that's, taking up a lot of Bethesda time. Again, I don't think that's the case. Much like with the Oblivion remaster, when it comes to porting games, generally there's studios that are doing that because it's a very tedious thing to have to port and very tricky, and you're better off, getting people who know what they're doing. Not saying Bethesda don't know what they're doing, but I would assume they'd rather have somebody do it while they can focus on other things. So I don't think that the PlayStation port is taking much of their time, and realistically, they probably do have stuff in the works, and they've, we're going to probably get an update, but it just doesn't bode well for me when they've been radio silent. Like, I look back to, like, other game developers, and I think the first thing to remember is we shouldn't, just because one game developer does something doesn't mean the others should too. But like for instance, like following games made by Bungie and 343, who's now Halo Studios, like they used to constantly give us feedback. Even now, Halo Infinite, despite it essentially being in skeleton crew mode with most of the developers working on the next iteration of Halo, they themselves have said that they're still giving us updates on a kind of a monthly period with new content. They're on Twitter or X on the daily almost. They're constantly teasing stuff. They're doing their kind of lore bits. They're doing so much. And you look on Bethesda's Twitter, which I don't have Twitter, so I can't look. But I want to say the last thing. Actually, I can look because I'm in the Discord. Let me see. What was the last thing that they have a Discord bot that tells you what the last thing. So the last thing, the creator news was on Twitter. Was on the 16th of the 9th. Shattered Space Deep Dive. That was the last thing. Oh no, sorry, that wasn't the last thing. The last thing was the 10th of the 12th, 2024. They said that they released the Starfield Doom at Hell's Gate Doom themed creation, which was cool, but it was a free creation and it was a nod to Doom, not Dune, Doomslayer. And it also was made by a third-party mod team with King Gath's creation. So it's not a good look. Like I'm so enamored, that's the right word, by Starfield. I love the setting, I love the universe, I love the story, I love the weapons, I especially love ship parts. But we've got nothing. Like, and to be honest, again, I haven't used like X in a while. Actually, let me check. So there's Starfield. Let me check Fallout announcements. Yeah, like I'm just looking here. Almost every week they update or they put out an update on Twitter regarding Fallout 76, which, yes, Fallout 76 is a completely different style of game. It's a multiplayer game, but to be completely honest with you, Bethesda said that Starfield was supposed to be a 10-year experience, very similar in updates in a perfect world to what Fallout 76 is doing, where they get constant updates every couple of months. Currently we're 2 years in. I thought it was 3 years for some reason. We're 2 years in, and we have, this is year 2 technically, and we haven't got anything. We've got no news, no nothing. We're almost halfway through the year, and it's not a good look, to be honest. And I'm saying that a lot, but it hurts because I enjoy Starfield. Like I said, I just said previously, a big fan of it. I love 76 too, but the idea behind a single player game that has a 10-year longevity, like I would have given anything if Bethesda did that with Skyrim or with Fallout or with Oblivion. They're doing it with Starfield, which is awesome because it's even bonus because I love the setting, but you're not doing it right. And there probably isn't inherently like a specific right way to do it, but they're doing it wrong, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, Fallout's getting announcements like crazy. Let's look at is there an Elder Scrolls announcement? Elder Scrolls announcements, obviously Oblivion. Some stuff about castles, Nintendo Switch. What was that? Okay, no, that's last year. So they haven't actually been talking too much about Elder Scrolls Fair, but Elder Scrolls is also currently a non-existent title prior to Oblivion. It just, yeah. And the thing too that worries me is like when Fallout or when Starfield update does come out, and it's going to come out, and it's probably going to be substantial. It's going to come out on PlayStation, hopefully, and people are going to be hyped, right? But once the update, like once you've played through the update, let's say you spent a week or two or at most a month playing through everything, what then? You know? Like it's not like we can kind of hope that we're going to get more content, because unless, and this is me kind of talking about the way they're currently doing it, which is radio silence. Like we'll know at that point, like, okay, Bethesda's not going to do anything for like months and months, so let's maybe step back from the game, which it's a single player game. I know a lot of people will pick it up, play it, go away, new expansion comes out, pick it up, play it. But I think that the idea behind single player games and that it's like changing, like there's a few examples of good games out there that realistically you will keep playing and playing and playing regardless of whether they have updates or not. You know, Oblivion Remaster is a great example because like I played through Oblivion multiple times. You know, Fallout 4, I think I went and played back through Fallout 4 recently. You know, went and played back through Skyrim recently. It's something you do. But the difference here is Starfield, they said they're going to do something different, and so far it doesn't feel different. If anything, it feels worse. Fallout 4 got loads of DLC and expansions. By this point, the game had released all of it, both its expansions and its DLCs. Starfield, we've gotten one thing, and I want to know why. Like, obviously, paid mods are very prevalent when it comes to Starfield, and they've kind of they're added into Fallout, and I believe they're added into Skyrim. So it's like a new avenue for Bethesda to make money, but I hope that, and there's a lot of people that say, like, oh, you know, Bethesda's hoping that paid mods will keep people going. Like, look, my channel is very mod heavy, you know, I review mods, I like mods. I don't personally want mods to be the reason to keep a game going. Mods are the cherry on top, you know, like the icing. Like, just the cherry on its own doesn't do anything. We need Bethesda to be making content. I want lore-friendly Bethesda content. You know, we will talk a minute about paid mods, because I do have a little bit of a rant about that too. But it's just, yeah, it's again, it's not a good look. And it hurts as a longtime Bethesda fan. Like, I played 76, you know? I was in the trenches on Reddit, which realistically I shouldn't have been, because Reddit's Reddit. It's a toxic environment for a lot of places. When people were shitting on 76 and saying it's this, that, and the other. And a lot of it wasn't warranted, which is why felt like I was in the trenches. Like, I was constantly, like, defending the game. And, you know, you may say, Crimson, no one asked you to, and that's fair. But the reason I have is because I have faith in Bethesda. Like, the Oblivion launch briefly kind of gave me a glimmer of hope, because it's another game I can play and makes me realize Bethesda. Like, Oblivion it was a massive drop, right? Like, prior to the Oblivion drop, Bethesda had dropped Starfield and Fallout 76, both titles that were kind of looked down upon by probably the Bethesda community at large and the gaming community. And we all know that realistically we shouldn't give two shits about what the majority of the gaming community think, because ultimately it's what you think as a player. But stats don't lie. Starfield didn't do as well as Skyrim or Fallout, and 76 didn't do as well as Fallout. But despite that, they tried something different, and with Fallout 76 they persevered. With Starfield, they're going to persevere too. You know, I don't think they're going to abandon this game. You know, I don't think that. My issue, obviously, is the fact that they're taking too long to at least talk to us. Now, sorry, the tangent there. So, with that being said, Oblivion, like, people had kind of forgot who Bethesda were. Like, oh, Bethesda, you know, Bethesda trash, Bethesda this. Then Oblivion comes out, and it has, like, when I live streamed the reaction, I think there was like, want to say 700,000 people watching that. There's like over 175,000 people playing it on Steam, and I'd always say Steam is the minority. I will say that to the end of time. I'm going to assume there's probably at least the same, if not double, playing on PC Game Pass because of Game Pass. Console, honestly, I think with all of it combined, Bethesda's probably looking at easily 1 million players, probably more. I wouldn't be shocked if it's over that. And people are realizing this is Bethesda. You know, Bethesda aren't some has-been company. Bethesda have always been good. The issues that arise with Starfield and with 76, there are a lot of validity, but I think a lot of it too is that a lot of people didn't want to see change. Like, look, We know Starfield didn't sell well. We know a lot of people felt it was missing some of what Bethesda would, did with Fallout, with Skyrim, with Elder Scrolls. And that's apparent because, like it's a completely different entity. Like we have space travel, which I've always said space travel is a hard one to kind of do kind of storytelling, kind of scene development, because especially when you go this kind of like three-dimensional space, which is what Bethesda was doing. They partnered with NASA, for God's sake. They were going to go realism. Well, to an extent, people are saying, oh, I don't like how all the planets are barren. Like, play Elite Dangerous and come back to me about barren, you know? That being said, going back to it, I feel like Bethesda, they've redeemed themselves in the eyes of a lot of people. Like I think Oblivion Remaster is going to keep all of the Elder Scrolls fans at bay until Elder Scrolls 6. But as Starfield fans, we're left standing there with our hands in our pockets like, what's going on? Like, like I said, realistically, they're probably going to be an event that will showcase some stuff, right? They're probably going to give us, hopefully they're going to give us an update, and then they're going to talk about an expansion, right? Now, the expansion will probably come out around the same time as last year. Realistically, I think it should be far sooner than later, because that winter window, that's GTA's domain. And I think while Starfield's player base is very different than, say, the GTA player base, some people will be overlap. You don't want to release regardless. I think it's a dangerous. I think that Bethesda, if possible, they should try and push it closer. Maybe drop at the end of July as a summer update would also be great, because it would get all the kids, that are off school and stuff, and all the, people who are kind of enjoying the summer. That being said, when it comes to the update, like an expansion is cool, but I'm not going to be happy, and I don't think anybody would be happy with just an expansion. Like, realistically, we should have gotten, in my opinion, a few updates between Shattered Space. We should have had a Christmas themed update with some gameplay bug fixes, some new features tweaked in. Like, it could have literally been something simple like bug fixes and some free Christmas themed stuff added in game, Christmas themed food, maybe a Christmas themed quest. Now, when I say this, I mean in game. Bethesda, if you're watching this, which first of all, thank you actually for watching this. I know I'm a small creator, but I do enjoy the game, and I do, when I make these videos, I like to think that I'm speaking on behalf of, a community that also enjoys the game. But that being said, don't put it as a free creation pack bundle thing. Put it in game. Keep your creations, keep your content away from the creations. Leave the creations club to the modders. That being said, Christmas update. We should have got an update in March. We could have got like a St. Patrick's themed update or something like that. These are just examples. Could have added like some new weapons, maybe like a new quest, again, more bug fixes, maybe some extra tracker stuff, and then we're coming into the summer, where realistically we're going to get news about the new expansion, but also we should have gotten news about a potential update. We haven't gotten any of that. So I think that this update coming needs to be expansion level, and it needs to be free, And here's the thing, I don't mind paying for content. Like, it's very clear that, paid mods is a way for Bethesda to earn extra money, but at the same time, Shattered Space was paid expansion. So they're clearly getting money from a lot of different avenues. Not to mention Oblivion is going to put some nice coinage in the wallet. Now, obviously, I don't think they're going to, I wouldn't even imagine they're going to throw all of that back into any game, let alone Starfield. But they could throw some of the budget, maybe some of that horse armor money. But yeah, it's every day I hope that we get an update. And again, you're like, Crimson, what the fuck? What are you, fucking stupid? And partially, like, it is partially because I enjoy Starfield. I enjoy I enjoy making content. I enjoy playing the content. But being that I do Starfield related content, it makes it more, it's more prevalent, wanting more stuff, because I want it twofold. I want it, one, because I personally want it, and two, I want to make content. Well, also three, that I want other people to want it too, but I suppose that's a mix of one and two. But yeah, like, hopefully someone at Bethesda sees this. Just give us something. Like when I talked about Bungie and like 343, they used to also do things like teasers. Like they'd put up a picture and it'd be some of the staff just being like thumbs up and it'd be like, don't worry guys, you know, we're hard at work here. And then like bottom corner of there'd be like a monitor and it'd be a picture of something. And you did kind of show some of, like you have shown that. Like when you used to do the Vidocs, which I enjoyed the Vidocs. Now realistically, and probably wonder what a Vidoc is, a video documentary. Bethesda have kind of been doing them. I think Bungie was the first to kind of do them, in my opinion. Bethesda started doing them with, I think, with Starfield. They did one leading up to Starfield. They did one with the Trackers Alliance. They did one with the weapons update, or the Shattered Space. They did one with Oblivion. I like that. Let us see what's going on. Let us hear from the developers. You know, from lower end. You know, let us hear like I want to, and this is another thing too, Bethesda. I want to like hear like sorry, let me reword this. Like regardless of, you know, giving us updates on, you know, expansions and stuff and what's coming, I want to hear how developers did certain things. Like I want to, like, I'd love to hear or see a Vidoc on the rover, like kind of an expanded one that explains like how the guys behind it and the girls and, you know, they, them, how all of them together, how they did that. Like what was the challenges, you know, like you know, what did they have to achieve, what did they accomplish, like will they be like any teases about potentially using it going forward in other Bethesda titles. I would love a video on the shipbuilder. Like spaceships is completely new for any game. That's part of the reason why Starfield is as popular as it is the shipbuilder. You know, like I'd love to know like what's, you know, like how did they do it? Where did the idea behind it come from? You know, also, I feel like I should, realistically, I should just upload a video that's all this, but Bethesda, give us ship parts. We want ship parts. Like, you guys have done a really good job with the ships and the stuff in game. They're awesome. And yes, people are going to be like, there's modded ship parts. I don't want modded ship parts. I want Bethesda to design ship parts in their own game. You know? Modders should not have to pick up the slack, and even if they did, I still probably wouldn't. It's snooty of me, I know, but I would rarely ever consider them on the same level as what Bethesda creates, because Bethesda know the world. The other thing is I'd like to see is, you know, talking about like the Unity and stuff. Like obviously we know that there's a Starborn themed expansion coming, and we know that we're going to learn a lot about the story. But it would be cool sitting down behind the lore people and talking about the various religions of the game and where they gathered inspiration from. Like Shattered Space, I would have loved a kind of an extended Vidoc, because it's very clear with House Faroon, there's a lot of elements of the houses of Morrowind in the kind of stuff, like things like that. Like stuff like that, just it not only does it, you know, benefit the updates and telling us, you know, what's going on, it benefits the player, but communication is key. Bethesda, I know, used to always be one of those companies where like they'll drop a trailer when they're good and ready, and I realize that's probably what they're doing, but it's not. I don't think that works anymore. I think the developers need to be as transparent as possible with their fan base, especially when it is a game like this where they say, look, it's a 10-year game. That tells to me like they want their players to keep coming back, and it's like, yeah. Now that's, I suppose that's it. I was going to talk about some other stuff with paid mods, but I think I'll leave that to a separate video. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know your thoughts on everything I've kind of spoken on today, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, you know, hopefully someone at Bethesda either sees this or it is shared to them, and just give us something, Bethesda, please. Like, I'm grateful of Oblivion. I love Oblivion. I'm literally gonna probably go back and play it after recording this, and but I care, honestly, I care probably more about Starfield, because I love the idea behind what you're trying to achieve. That's pretty much it, guys. Catch you later. Bye bye.